When someone insults you, the first instinct is usually to defend yourself or fire back, but a deeper truth hides beneath their words. Truth that most people never take the time to see. An insult is rarely about you. It's a window into their internal world, their fears, their insecurities, and the battles they are silently losing. When a person feels whole, stable, and confident, they don't look for ways to tear others down. They don't need to. But when someone feels threatened, when they feel small, or when they sense that you carry something they lack, insults become their last tool of control. Stoicism teaches us that the one who tries to hurt is often the one hurting the most. Their bitterness spills outward because they cannot contain it within. Their anger escapes because they don't know how to confront what's happening inside them. And so they project, hoping their words will land, hoping their negativity will shake you. But the only power an insult carries is the power you give it. Most people don't understand that insults are confessions. When someone says something cruel, they reveal the exact point where they feel inferior compared to you. Your discipline makes them feel undisciplined. Your calm makes them feel chaotic. Your progress reminds them of their stagnation. Your confidence exposes their insecurity. So they strike where they think they can hurt you, not because they know your weakness, but because they're trying to soothe their own. And that is why taking insults personally is unnecessary suffering. You are carrying weight that was never yours. A strong man learns to look past the surface. Instead of reacting impulsively, he observes. He recognizes the pattern. He sees the struggle behind the hostility. And in that moment of understanding, something shifts. He no longer feels attacked. He feels clarity. He sees the insult for what it is, noise from someone who has lost control of their inner world. That realization frees you. Because the moment you understand the roots of someone's insult, it becomes almost impossible for it to wound you. You see their intention, but you also see their limitation. Imagine someone throwing mud at you. It may land, it may not. But if you don't pick it up and rub it onto yourself, it dries, falls off, and leaves no mark. Insults work the same way. They need your cooperation to stain you. Without your reaction, they die in the air between you and the one who threw them. A man who knows his worth sees insults differently. Instead of letting them define him, he lets them expose the one who tried to cause harm. He refuses to be dragged into emotional chaos. And with every insult that no longer touches him, he grows a little stronger, a little wiser, a little more unbreakable. Because true strength isn't measured by how loudly you respond, but by how little you need to. Ending line, when you rise above their words, you rise above their world. Their words may come sharp, sudden, and unexpected, but the Stoic knows that the real damage does not come from the insult itself. It comes from the meaning we choose to assign to it. When someone tries to belittle you, they are revealing far more about their own insecurities than your worth. Yet in the moment, the sting can feel real. Your mind may rush to defend itself, to fight back, or to internalize the attack. But this is exactly where your inner strength is waiting to be revealed. Not in how loudly you respond, not in how clever your comeback is, but in how calmly you choose to remain unmoved. Because insults are powerless unless you grant them permission to enter your mind. You see, the Stoics taught that no external force, not a word, not an opinion, not a person, can disturb your peace unless you open the gate from within. This is why emotional discipline is not just an idea, it's a shield. It's the quiet confidence of knowing who you are so deeply and so firmly that someone else's attempt to shake you becomes almost laughable. When someone insults you, they expect a reaction. They expect you to crumble, argue, defend, or retaliate. That's the fuel they are looking for. But when you stand still like a mountain, when you breathe, when you let the insult fall at your feet instead of onto your heart, you reveal a strength that not everyone has mastered. Silence in that moment is not weakness, it is power. Think about it, if someone threw mud at a statue, the statue does not bend, argue, or complain, it simply remains as it is. Over time, the mud dries and falls off. The insult works the same way. The person throwing it hopes it sticks, but it only sticks when your mind is soft and unguarded. When your sense of self is strong, built on character, discipline, and self-respect, there is nothing for the insult to attach to. Most people let insults define them because they define themselves too loosely. They have not yet decided who they are, so they allow others to decide for them. But the Stoic decides first, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, this is what I refuse to accept. Once you carry that clarity, every insult becomes a test you automatically pass. And here's the deeper truth. Emotional discipline does not remove your sensitivity, it simply redirects it. Instead of reacting to insults, you become sensitive to your own standards, your own values, your own goals. You stop responding to negativity and start responding to the person you are building yourself to be. This is how insults lose their power. They no longer reach you because you no longer place your worth in external noise. You recognize that the real battle has always been within, whether you choose to let something enter your mind or deny it at the door. And each time you choose discipline over reaction, each time you choose stillness over chaos, each time you choose clarity over insecurity, you become stronger without even raising your voice. That is the strength no insult can penetrate, and the strength every Stoic strives to carry. There will always be people who talk, people who criticize, people who judge from the sidelines while doing nothing themselves. This is a universal truth of life. Yet the greatest mistake you can make is believing that every opinion deserves your attention. Most do not. In fact, most opinions are simply echoes of the speaker's own fears, frustrations, and failures. The Stoic understands that not all voices carry the same weight, and certainly not all voices deserve space in your mind. When you learn to evaluate the source before absorbing the message, you take control of your emotional world. You stop letting unqualified critics shake the foundations you've worked so hard to build. And this is where true inner strength shines. Not in listening to everyone, but in choosing wisely whom you allow to influence you. Think about it when someone insults you. What gives their words power? It's not the sound of their voice. It's not the vocabulary they use. It's your perception of their authority. When you subconsciously place them above you, when you assume they know more about your life, your worth, your path, you hand them the power to hurt you. But when you step back and ask yourself, who is this person? Really, what have they built? What values do they live by? Are they someone whose judgment I respect? The insult often collapses under its own weight. You begin to see that many people criticize not because they have insight, but because they have nothing else to offer. Their words are cheap, their judgment is shallow. The Stoic learns early that cheap words should never cost you peace. And the beautiful thing about selective attention is that it transforms your emotional landscape. When you stop reacting to every comment, you create space for clarity, space for growth, space for self-respect. You realize you don't need to defend yourself against every voice, because not every voice matters. This does not mean you isolate yourself from feedback. It means you become disciplined enough to separate constructive guidance from destructive noise. You choose mentors instead of mockers, thinkers instead of talkers, people who want to see you grow instead of those who want to see you stumble. And once you establish this internal filter, every insult loses its ability to knock you off balance. Even more profound is the realization that ignoring certain voices is not arrogance, it is self-preservation. It is the recognition that your energy is your most precious resource, and anyone who demands it without offering value in return is taking from your purpose. The Stoic does not waste emotional strength on people who are not invested in their well-being. So when an insult comes from someone who does not know your journey, does not understand your struggles, and does not share your values, you let it pass like wind against stone. You remain steady, grounded, unmoved, because you know exactly who you are, and you refuse to let someone unqualified define you. This is how you rise above noise, reclaim your focus, and honor the strength within you. Every person's life, when an insult lands, not because the words were sharp, but because the timing was vulnerable. In those moments, it is easy to believe the attack, to internalize the negativity, and to question yourself. But the Stoic perspective teaches something radically different. You are the one who controls whether an insult becomes a wound. No one's words can truly harm you unless you open the door and invite them in. And the ability to remain composed, to stay emotionally grounded even when someone tries to provoke you, is one of the greatest demonstrations of inner strength. Insults reveal far more about the speaker than the target, and when you refuse to react, you expose that truth with absolute clarity. People who insult you are often chasing a reaction. They want to pull you down to their level, disrupt your calm, and provoke an emotional response that validates their bitterness. When you get angry, they feel powerful. When you defend yourself desperately, they feel justified. But when you look at them with silence, when your face remains calm, when your energy doesn't shift, suddenly everything flips. They are left confronting their own intention, their own insecurity, their own lack of control. Your composure becomes a mirror that reflects everything they hope to hide. This is why staying centered is such a powerful act. It denies them access to your emotions, and it denies them the satisfaction of seeing you shaken. Stoicism teaches that insults are tests, opportunities to practice self-mastery. When someone throws negativity your way, you are faced with a simple choice: absorb it or let it fall. Reacting impulsively gives the moment power. Responding with authority gives you power, and sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Silence is not weakness, it is a strategic refusal to waste energy. It is the ability to stay in control of your inner world, no matter what chaos someone else tries to create. Remaining calm is not about pretending, it is about understanding that your emotional stability is yours alone to protect. What makes composure so transformative is that it breaks cycles. When you don't respond with fire, the situation cannot escalate. When you don't participate in their emotional turbulence, they cannot drag you into it. Calmness becomes your armor, an unbreakable layer that shields you from unnecessary conflict. It also sends a clear message to the world: your peace is non-negotiable. You are not someone who can be manipulated, provoked, or destabilized by petty attacks. People begin to treat you differently when they realize they cannot control you emotionally. Your silence and steadiness command more respect than shouting ever could. And more importantly, staying calm teaches you who you truly are beneath the surface. You discover that your strength lies not in reacting loudly, but in standing firmly, not in fighting every battle, but in choosing the ones worthy of your time, not in dominating others, but in mastering yourself. This is the kind of strength that insults cannot penetrate, the kind of presence that negativity cannot shake, the kind of character that rises above chaos with quiet power. This is how you turn every insult into proof of your inner strength. There is a subtle power in observing insults without immediately reacting. When someone throws a harsh word your way, the natural instinct is to defend, to explain, or to retaliate. But the Stoic approach teaches that by stepping back and witnessing the insult without attachment, you gain clarity and control. This pause, this moment of deliberate non-reaction, is not passivity, it is the conscious exercise of inner strength. It demonstrates to yourself and to the world that your sense of self is independent of external judgment. Every insult is, in fact, an opportunity to practice restraint, to show that your composure cannot be purchased or shaken by the whims of others. By not letting an insult dictate your mood or actions, you reclaim your energy and redirect it toward purpose and growth, rather than wasting it on emotional turbulence. Understanding the origin of insults is equally vital. People rarely attack without cause. More often, their words reflect their own insecurities, frustrations, and unresolved conflicts. Recognizing this allows you to detach from the personal sting of the remark. When a person insults you, it says more about their character than yours. They may be projecting their fear, jealousy, or anger onto you. By seeing the insult as a reflection of them rather than a reflection of your worth, you disarm its power. This awareness cultivates empathy, not weakness. It helps you maintain emotional equilibrium, responding with calmness rather than reactivity, and in doing so, elevates your presence in any social or professional setting. Another layer of inner strength comes from strategic silence. Choosing not to respond to an insult immediately or at all conveys confidence in a way words often cannot. Silence communicates that you are not emotionally dependent on the approval or validation of others. It also prevents the escalation of conflict. When people sense that their attempt to provoke you fails, they are often left frustrated or reconsidering their approach. Your composure becomes a shield and a statement simultaneously, demonstrating that you are guided by principles and self-mastery, not by the need to defend a fragile ego. This kind of silent authority often garners more respect than forceful argumentation. Furthermore, transforming insults into lessons strengthens your resilience. Each negative comment can be analyzed. What is being tested? What triggers me? What can I learn about myself from my reaction, or lack thereof? By examining these moments objectively, you turn potential emotional setbacks into opportunities for personal growth. You begin to see that your value, confidence, and composure are not contingent on external approval. This perspective is liberating as it shifts your focus from what others think to what you control, your response, your mindset, your energy. Over time, this practice builds unshakable self-assurance and emotional independence. Finally, mastering your reaction to insults develops a subtle influence over others. People notice those who remain unshaken, who treat provocations with calm and measured behavior. This quiet strength draws respect, commands attention, and often inspires admiration. When you refuse to be destabilized, you subtly teach others that emotional maturity and self-control are powerful forces. This is the essence of inner strength. It is not about dominating others, but about mastering yourself and your environment. By consistently embodying this calm, you cultivate an aura of confidence and authority that no insult can diminish. In the end, the way you respond, or deliberately choose not to respond, to insults becomes a reflection of your character and your inner strength. Of inner strength comes not only from controlling your immediate reaction to insults, but also from cultivating a mindset where insults no longer hold sway over your emotions at all. This is the level of mastery where external negativity simply slides off your awareness without leaving a trace. To reach this state, you must first understand that your emotional well-being is entirely within your control. No word spoken by another person can diminish your value unless you allow it. This realization is liberating because it removes the need to defend, explain, or justify yourself in the face of disrespect. You begin to see that insults are external events separate from your true self and therefore cannot define your reality unless you grant them that power. Part of this mastery involves maintaining perspective. Insults are often fleeting expressions of another person's temporary frustration, jealousy, or ignorance. By recognizing the transient nature of these words, you prevent them from taking root in your mind or shaping your self-image. This perspective aligns with the Stoic principle that external events are outside our control, while our responses are entirely within it. When you accept this, you become immune to the emotional hooks others try to cast with their words. You respond with measured calm or with silence, showing that your emotional state is self-directed, not contingent on the approval or disapproval of others. This is where true detachment meets personal empowerment. Additionally, using insults as a mirror rather than a weapon enhances your resilience. When someone attacks you, their words can be reframed as opportunities to reflect on your own values, boundaries, and reactions. Instead of reacting defensively, you can examine what triggers you and why, strengthening your self-awareness and emotional intelligence. This practice not only improves your responses in future interactions, but also reinforces a deep internal confidence. You become someone who does not need validation from the outside world because your sense of self is grounded in your own principles, actions, and integrity. Another aspect of inner strength is maintaining dignity. Responding to insults with calmness and composure, rather than matching aggression with aggression, preserves your integrity. It communicates to the world that you are not ruled by petty provocations, and it subtly shifts the dynamic in your favor. People are naturally drawn to those who demonstrate control over their emotions because it signals maturity, stability, and confidence. This silent authority often carries more weight than any verbal rebuttal could. It also prevents the cycle of negativity from escalating, maintaining peace of mind and fostering respect in personal and professional relationships alike. Equally important is the long-term cultivation of emotional immunity. By consistently practicing composure in the face of disrespect, you train your mind to anticipate provocations without being disrupted. Over time, insults lose their sting entirely. You no longer expend energy worrying about what others think or say. Instead, you channel your focus into personal growth, meaningful goals, and positive interactions. This immunity is the pinnacle of Stoic strength, unshakable, unyielding, and deeply empowering. Ultimately, responding to insults with controlled calm and detached awareness transforms potential attacks into opportunities for demonstrating and reinforcing inner strength. By mastering your reactions, protecting your peace, and maintaining perspective, you become an unmovable force, inspiring respect and admiration without ever having to raise your voice.